Hello everyone, this is Frank DiMora, the author of the book The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. I'd like to invite you to go over to my website, as you see at the top, the End Times Research Ministry. Right now I want to take a short period of time to connect the dots between what's going on, again, in the Middle East concerning ISIS. Now, as you know, or you may not know, there's going to be two wars that are going to be fought against Israel. And the first war would be the Psalm 83 war that you see on the left-hand side. Now with this, I want to point out what is going on in Syria, because Syria has been involved in a civil war. Since Syria has been plunged into a civil war, ISIS has moved in and to take advantage to actually expand their caliphate. ISIS is the Islamic State, Iraq, and Syria. And they've also moved into different territories, which I want to show you now, which becomes very significant when it comes to dealing with Psalm 83 war and the Ezekiel war. Now, as you see, Ezekiel war, that's going to happen after the Psalm 83 war. Now, the difference is, we believe, that the Psalm 83 war will happen where Israel is still calling for peace and safety, and they have the walls, the bars, and the gates up for protection. Whereas the Ezekiel war, we see that there are no more bars, gates, or walls in Israel for protection. And the people in Israel are living what they believe is in security, unlike we see right now at the current events. And so after the Psalm 83 war has finished, Israel will no doubt expand their territory, take down the walls, the bars, and the gates, feeling secure. And then, as we see Ezekiel 38, that's when that battle takes place. So, what I wanted to show you is, here is Libya. Now, most of you who have been watching the news remember Colonel Gaddafi was killed. Now, since Colonel Gaddafi was killed, these factions have come in to Libya trying to maintain or to enforce their way of life. So you have these different factions coming together in the hopes of their faction is going to be the new government of Libya. Now, since that has happened, where they've actually been fighting together, all these factions, you're going to see now that there's a new element in Libya, which is a very lethal element, without a doubt. Now, here's news that just came out today, November the 10th, 2014. Libyan city is first outside Syria, Iraq to join ISIS. Vow of allegiance in Darna, known for strict enforcement of Sharia law, gives jihadists a foothold in an oil-rich Libya. Now, anyone who has been watching the news have seen how fast ISIS has moved into Iraq, taken over much of the territory in Iraq. They moved in and took advantage of the civil war in Syria and have made advances in Syria, taken a lot of the land away from Bashar al-Assad and threatening the Assad's regime. Now, one thing we do know for sure, Syria has been bent on the destruction of Israel. Nothing has changed there, Bashar al-Assad's government. So now that you see ISIS into Syria, it won't really matter who takes over the government, whether Assad stays there or whether ISIS removes Assad, because they both have the same goal, which is to destroy or wipe out the nation of Israel. So Israel's watching this very, very closely, the events that are being played out in Syria. So now you have this group, ISIS, in Syria, now going into Libya. And this becomes very, very important because we know that Israel is going to win the Psalm 83 war. And all this is going to do is tick off ISIS, this Islamic state, this caliphate state that they're trying to form, and they're really doing a good job destroying people's lives and taking over territory, taking over governments at this point. And so now they've taken a foothold in Libya. And of course, Libya is mentioned in the Ezekiel war, so it only stands to reason that the people who hate and that are more brutal, by the way, than Bashar al-Assad are making inroads into Libya. It says this: on a chilly night, bearded militants gathered at a stage strung with colorful lights in Darna, a Mediterranean coastal city long notorious as Libya's center for jihadist radicals. With a roaring chant, they pledged their allegiance to their leader of the Islamic State group. With that meeting 10 days ago, the militants dragged Darna into becoming the first city outside of Iraq and Syria to join the caliphate announced by the extremist group. Already the city has seen religious courts ordering killings in public, floggings of residents accused of violating Sharia law, as well as enforced segregation of male and female students. Opponents of the militants have gone into hiding or fled, terrorized by a string of slayings aimed at silencing them. And this is what ISIS is good for: terrorizing people, making people run away instead of fight. And so Libya, no doubt about it, when you look at prophecy, is heading towards fulfilling the prophecy, because Libya is destined to join with Russia, with Turkey, and all these other countries that are named in the Psalm 83 war. And I'll bring it up again so that you see it. Again, you have Libya there, Russia, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Sudan, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Germany, Turkey, and Armenia. All of these. So in order for these prophecies to come together, you have to have the right people in power. And without a question, you see ISIS moving into Libya the same way they've already taken some of these other nations. And we know that this is one giant step towards the fulfillment, or becoming the fulfillment, of the prophecy of Ezekiel 38 war. Now, if you'd like the complete details of all this, you can go to my website again that you see at the top of the screen. And when you're there, you'll see a link. Just click the link and you'll have the updated version of my book, the documentary on Bible prophecy and current events, called The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. It's updated as of November the 10th, 2014, which is today. God bless.